Try to make this look less like a hostage video.
I hear you. I'll blink for
exactly.
Morse code.
Secret messages. Hey, you mentioned this at the podium, but picked last year. Obviously had a tremendous season. Did your team use that as motivation last year, the preseason ranking, and conversely, can you use this year as motivation when now you've gained some respect?
Well, I don't think our kids used that for motivation last year, because if they used that for motivation last year, what can they say about the year before that when they were picked last? What our kids did last year was they bought in to what my coaching staff was selling, and they believed it. And we were able to go to Tuscaloosa that first week of the season and lose one overtime. And they said, hey, maybe these guys know what they're talking about. Because in reality, what did they have to lose by trusting us? They won one game the year before, so there was nothing to lose for trusting us. They did a great job. And then, I think we all need motivated for certain things, but I hope, being picked last or being picked fourth is not what motivates these kids. You hope they're getting motivated because they want to be the best they can possibly be. And I know that's cliche, but it's true because every day you're just competing against yourself. We can't control anything a kid at Shepherd's doing. We can't control anything a kid at West Virginia State's doing. We can only control what our kids are doing. And I think they've accepted that. And I think we had a good off season. Everybody says they had a good off season. It's kind of like somebody asked me how signing day went, and I said, it's awful. It's just so bad. We didn't sign a single good player. And they kind of looked at me and said, of course I think it was good, Nobody goes to the car dealership and think they got a bad deal, So it is what it is, but we're excited. We like where we're going, but like I said, we know we're a long way. When you look at the poll, we're 31 points behind third. We're a lot closer to 10th than we are. So it's just an everyday grind, man.
Coaches come into programs that are struggling. They always say, we got to change the culture. We've got to get these kids to believe that they can, instead of believing they win, expecting that they win. It's not easy to do. Does it all start with just doing the right things every day? The right things to practice every day?
It starts in the very first meeting you have with your team, and you let them know this is how we're going to do things. And if you don't live up to these standards, you're not going to be a part of this. And you can't back down. It's a whole lot easier to start out hard on somebody and then lax up on some things and then start relax and try to tighten up at the end. So our kids know this is what you're going to be expected to do. This is what you're going to do. If you can't meet these standards, you won't be a part of this. Winning's hard. The only way to learn how to win is to win. And it's hard. And there's no shortcuts to it. Our kids, like I said, they bought in. Everything that we did last year is 100% credit to our coaches because they took my vision of what I wanted to do and they applied it. But more important than that, our kids. We've got a phenomenal group of kids. Now, our kids don't look like these other kids that are here, so we've got to do things just a little bit different. We've got to do things, we got to try this or try that or whatever it is because I ain't got nobody that looks like that defensive end practicing tournament. We don't have a kid in our campus that looks like that, so we've got to do things, just a little bit harder, a little bit longer, and just do some things to just try to compensate for what we're lacking in just pure size.
Talk to me about Bryson Lee. Season he had last year, the spring that he's had, and how good he is.
I think Bryson was good in the fall. I recruited Bryson to Eastern Kentucky, and was able for him to bring him here with me. And I knew what I thought he could be. I knew he had tremendous arm talent, had a good head on his shoulders. I thought he would be a little bit better runner than he was, and that part of his game didn't materialize. And so, but his spring, I think he got a whole lot better at throwing the ball. But the thing with Bryson is we've got to protect him. It took a lot of courage to play quarterback for us last year. And so we've got to be much better right there. Then Bryson had to put some weight on, because he was getting pounded. He took a shot against Shepherd last year. His helmet popped off. I said, is his head in the helmet? I was scared to death of the kid. And so he had to pay a little bit more price in the weight room and bulk up just a little bit. And Bryson is a quiet kid. That year forced him to grow up and become more of a leader. I don't always think your quarterback has to be the vocal leader, but they've got to be vocal when it's called to be vocal. And I think he's getting better.
Okay, finally, talking about Carlton, he's a guy that in this league is severely underrated because the way you're able to use him is a lot like Mike Landis and Wesley, and he can do a lot of things well.
Yeah, Carlton's got to have a good year. He had shoulder surgery in the offseason. which he played with a bad shoulder all year last year, so we were able to get that fixed. So he did not go through spring, but he's rehabbed that and put some weight on. And we've got, with Carlton, it's got to be kind of a where's Waldo thing. We've got to do a better job of staff moving him around and being more creative, when we give ways to get him the football, because he's going to make things happen, And we as coaches all the time aren't the smartest people in the world. We try to think, because Javante Latney is this big kid, we think he ought to be this bruising runner, and he's not. And so maybe we should play him at tight end. Maybe we should play him H-back a little bit more. And then when you hand him the ball, he doesn't gain yards. So we feel like we're going to be very deep at running back. Okay, but being deep at running back and being good at running back doesn't really mean anything if you can't block for it. And so our season's going to go how we block in front. If we get offensive line play, I think we can have a good football team. But if we don't show a great improvement there, it's going to be a struggle. As I said up there, coaches never talk about the games they should have lost or could have lost. We could have been 10-2. Well, you're exactly right. I was talking to a buddy one time and said, we could have won 10-2. And I was like, yeah, if you hadn't caught a fade pass off fourth down against us, your butt would have been fired. We don't ever look at those, So yes, we were 6-5, conceivably could have been 8-3. We could have been 2-9. So we've got to get a whole lot better, because you want to take those could have lost and make sure that they're definite wins and just continue to take the next step. And we know where, like I said, we know where we're on. We know where we're going. We're going to get there sooner rather than later, but it's going to be a grind every single day.